Hi guys, so first review of 2021, and today I'm driving the Mercedes-AMG A35. This is the range-topping variant of the A-Class sedan family, and also at the same time the most affordable AMG model from Mercedes. Okay guys, so here we have it. This is the Mercedes-AMG A35. It is the range-topping variant of the A-Class sedan family. So the A-Class sedan is a new addition to the Mercedes compact car family. It is the second four-door model in the range alongside the CLA. But of course, the relative positioning is that the A-Class sedan is supposed to be a slightly more conservative, more upright offering, whereas the CLA, takes on a more style-oriented, sporty interpretation, more coupe positioning as evidenced by its name. But funnily enough, the A-Class sedan does have one styling cue from the coupe family. You see, Mercedes has this practice whereby regular models such as the S-Class, E-Class, C-Class, the GLE, GLC, all these family-oriented outings, they have their side mirrors emerge from the base of the A-pillar. So when you see the side mirror emerging from the door skin, this is a styling cue usually reserved for coupes like the C-Class coupe, the E-Class coupe, CLS, GLE coupe, that kind of thing. So with this, Mercedes is also subtly trying to implant the idea that the A-Class sedan is still very much a sporty car at heart, even though it has very conventional proportions. And I have to say that the proportions of the A-Class are rather pleasing. It's very well balanced, okay? Certainly, if you line this next to a 2 Series Grand Coupe, this is a much more well-proportioned, well-stanced car. Especially when you look at the back, the A-Class sedan appears at the very least to sit lower and wider compared to the 2 Series Grand Coupe. Now, of course, in our market, this A35 sedan, BMW does not have anything that competes against it. In fact, nobody else seems to have anything to compete against it, because this formula whereby it has a front transverse mounted engine with a front biased all-wheel drive system in a sedan body, there's no other car in the market with this kind of packaging anymore. This formula actually goes back to the Mitsubishi Evo, right? If you remember, right, the Lancer Evo, that was the last car that I can recall off the top of my head that had a sedan body, transverse mounted 2-liter turbo engine, 300 over horsepower with all-wheel drive. Because if you look at all its other mechanical rivals, all right, all other rivals with similar mechanical setup, you have the BMW M135i, that is a hatchback. You have the likes of the Golf R hatchback. If you are looking for this kind of mechanical formula, the A35 sedan is the only one that has a conventional sedan body. Design-wise of this car, you have seen the same basic design in the A200 sedan, in the A250 sedan, but here in the A35, of course, there are some unique styling cues because of its AMG badging. So you see, you have this ducktail spoiler here, and down below at the lower edge of the bumper, you have this rather aggressive looking diffuser and exhaust and single exhaust pipes either side. So you also have vents at the side, but those are fake vents, decorative vents. No, they don't serve any aerodynamic function. Now this tail light here has a nice, it's a nice wide design, and I particularly like how this this illumination pattern. Okay, being a Star Trek fan, that reminds me of the computer displays of the Enterprise in Star Trek: The Next Generation. Nerd moment right there. So here we have 19-inch wheels, right? 19-inch AMG wheels at the rear with cross-drilled disc brakes there. The front end, of course, the discs are much larger, and they practically visually fill up the whole interior of the wheel, so that really emphasizes the performance-oriented nature of this car. So you come to the front end. The front design of the A35 is an expression of subtle aggression. The way these fins cut into the bumper, this sort of reminds us of, you know, sharp incisor teeth of a predator. But you see, the bumper is not overblown. It does not flare excessively. So when you look at this, you see an aggressively designed car, but just nicely reined in, that it still retains a tasteful look. Let's pop the boot. And actually, this is a rather decently sized boot. Okay, I think I can imagine 2 large suitcases going in there. A bit of a tight squeeze, of course. And under here is a hidden compartment together with what I presume is a subwoofer, as well as a tire repair kit. All right, over here, this is a netted compartment in there for you to stow away small items. Here as well, there's a 12-volt socket, and the gooseneck hinges are concealed behind these panels. So obviously, the boot opening, the boot hinge takes up quite a bit of space, and you can see how it really intrudes into the boot space. But by covering this, you ensure that whatever things that you load in here, it does not interfere with the opening and closing of the boot. So here you can see these latches open up the folding rear seats, which we shall go and check out. So come inside. All right, and we shall fold these down, bring this down. Okay, now so you see here at the side, this is plastic, but there's a slot here for you to put the seat belt buckle in. And the folding of the seats are not perfectly flat, but it's seamless. So they have the raising of the boot, they have raised the boot floor well enough to match the folding down of the seat. All right, and you can see here there's a top tether for the isofix. There's a blank this blank cover here suggests to me that middle isofix, the middle seat isofix, is also available as an option in selected markets. So let me just close this, and you can see here the rear seats, they have red contrast stitching, all right, together with the red seat belts. I'm 170 centimeters tall, and I have just enough headroom whereby my hair just about touches the roof. Okay, so the armrest here has pop-out cup holders, right, and the mechanisms feel solid enough. The seats have decent lean angle. The seat cushion is rather flat, so they are a bit lacking in terms of thigh support. And with the driver's seat adjusted to my seating position, I can't really stretch my legs under, so there really is no holding up of my thighs. You can also see that the way the seat back is molded, there is a degree of side support. And as you can see here, the isofix mounts, they didn't even bother to put a cover, they left it exposed. For some, they may see this as not a very pretty sight, but as a parent, I totally see the usefulness of it, because what it means is that the isofix mounts are easy to locate and easy to mount my child seats. So for me as a parent, I have zero complaints about it. You have rear aircon vents here, and you open this this drawer. You got 2 USB-C ports. All right, netted rear door pockets. And let's look at the door card. So the door card here has this Alcantara trim insert here, all right, a very large area. This is where your arms will typically rest in a journey, all right. Door openers, and this door handle here, well, it does wobble quite a bit, doesn't it? All right. Plastic is softish, not fully soft. This is hard plastic, as you would expect. This this door pocket here is just nicely angled so that you can drop a water bottle here, a tall bottle here, and behind here is more hidden space just behind this, and got a rear speaker panel as well here. All right, so let's head over to the front. Now we step into the front. Okay, let's start the engine first. Now, first observation I want to point out is, as I close the door, notice that you can see the painted surface of the door. This, to me, I think is not quite acceptable in a 300,000 ringgit car. I would expect this surface, all these painted surfaces to be covered, all right, if not by a plastic strip, at the very least, you know, something like a sticker of some sort. But that aside, I would say overall, the design wise, this is familiar. We have seen this in the A class as well as the CLS. Mercedes really knows how to make pretty cabins. In the words of my colleague Rachel, this is a very Instagrammable cabin, and she's and for her, the fact that this cabin, you can change the color of the ambient lighting, to her, that is a major selling point. You can even set it to animate. You look at the selection of colors that they have. It's a whole menu there. For me, I would have left it at, I would leave it at multicolor animation, I would guess. But design wise, it's a beautifully designed cabin. One flaw I would say is that this panel, this instrument panel here, where you have two separate screens seamlessly built into one, great to look at. But from my driving position here, you can see that I'm able to fully see the instrument panel, all right, but a large portion of this middle screen is obscured from my view. And in particular, if you were to take, say, this AMG performance screen, this nice display with the all-wheel drive display as well as the G-force meter, when I sit in my proper driving position, this whole G-force meter is obscured from my view. So I think the execution of this can certainly be improved for future iterations. Maybe Mercedes would want to design the screens whereby it's shaped. You know, this middle screen here is shaped this way, whereas the instrument cluster is shaped like this. Yeah, but very pretty cabin to look at, beautiful cabin to look at. But quality, well, I think they really have to fix this panel. Looks nice, but the installation of it hardly at all feels solid. Here you've got a wireless charging tray here that's very conveniently placed. This whole compartment is lidded. Okay, you got a USB-C port here, and you got a 12-volt socket there. This is a cup holder which you can also remove. All right, I believe you can remove this, but I will not do so because, as you can see, the way this rubber is printed, this is obviously meant to be removed, but it's rather tight right now, so I will not risk breaking things. As you scroll through the dynamic settings, you can see that you can your driving modes adjustment will affect the engine, transmission, the ESC, as well as the suspension setting. All right, so this is the latest generation Mercedes command interface, whereby this is just a rest for your palm, and all your interaction is through this touchpad. All right, so you can browse this way, up, down. It's all touch. All right, and you can also interact with the screens through these pads. All right, so this is a scroll pad, whereby you can just sweep your way through the menus. So this pad here interacts with this screen, and this pad here interacts with the instrument cluster. So down here as well, you've got a center console box, another 2 USB-C ports here. So as I said before in my earlier reviews of the A class as well as the CLA, this is a nice cabin design. All right, beautiful to look at, but I think improvements can be made in terms of the fit and finish in certain areas. Okay, from a practicality standpoint, you've got good storage space availability. Control scheme, I think this is much improved from earlier Mercedes iterations. Certainly it does not have the clarity of older school BMWs, but if you compare it with the latest ones, then Mercedes is thereabouts on par with BMW right now in terms of their overall ergonomics. So certainly I don't see, all right, much of a challenge navigating through all these controls. All right, of course there's the typical Mercedes quirk, whereby you have the seat adjustment switch at the door, and also the gear selector lever at the steering wheel. And speaking of that, the reverse camera, okay, the A35 here only has a reverse camera, but what a clear camera this is. You can even see the go-kart word right there in relatively sharp focus. And I've said this once before, I've said this multiple times, Mercedes, whether it's 360-degree cameras or just a plain simple reverse camera, Mercedes makes some of the best cameras in the business.
Save about 500 bucks.
You save about 1,000 plus.
To work out cheaper for me.
3,000, 215, even more.
It's for 200 plus, 400 bucks of savings. So as with the A35 hatchback that I reviewed sometime last year, the sedan here is powered by the same 2-liter turbo engine, making 306 horsepower, 400 Newton meters of torque. The engine is paired to a 7-speed dual clutch transmission, and power is sent to all 4 wheels. So serious performance credentials here. All right, and don't forget, not too long ago, 300 horsepower is the kind of thing you expect from a 3-liter turbo engine, not so much a 2.0. And my god, this thing is fast. It moves rapidly, and I'm only still using the car in comfort setting. At least I think I am. All right, so I'm in comfort setting, and even then it pulls rather rapidly. You know, the thing about the way the A35 here delivers its pace, it's rapid, but it's not frightening. So you have, and together with the fact that it has the secure traction of all-wheel drive, this car really gives you the confidence to pummel it through the bends. So in comfort mode, the chassis gives a fair degree of room, but you take that as an indication of how much grip it has, and it gives you that confidence to just push on. So if you ask me, would I buy one of these? I have to say I can't dismiss this out of hand, because in terms of sheer pace and effectiveness as a fast day-to-day car, this car nails the job. But I think if I were to shop for this kind of performance at this price point, the car that I may eventually inch toward would be the C43 instead, because at the end of the day, the 3-liter V6 of the C43 has a richer soundtrack to it, even though it's not as aggressively tuned. Alright, I mean 367 horsepower from a 3-liter block with 2,000 ringgit road tax a year. But, you know, that sense of occasion when you rev that V6, that 3-liter V6, is not quite here in this inline 4. Yeah. But that consideration aside, the A35 here is, I would say, something of a rather unique proposition in the market. Of course, if you can afford it, go all out for the CLA 45 where you have a bigger scope of abilities at your disposal. But if you have better uses for that extra 100,000 ringgit, then the A35 here does the job fairly well. Okay guys, so hope you enjoyed today's video. If you like our content, please help us. 2 clicks, like button, subscribe button. Subscribe also to the channels of all my other aurizn colleagues listed in the description section below as well.